Hello, Star Trek fans. We are ReBinge It, and welcome to the ReBinge Star Trek Voyager podcast. My name is James.
And my name is Kim.
And we are rebinging Star Trek Voyager from the beginning, one episode at a time.
Welcome back to the podcast. Today we are wrapping up season 3.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about our best and worst episodes of the season, and then we'll, have some thoughts about the season overall.
I think we have some thoughts about this season.
Yeah. I think we have some good thoughts about this season and some bad thoughts about the season. But definitely thoughts.
So pretty much as usual.
Yep. So, should we get down to business? Or do you have any other business?
Yes. Let's get straight down to business.
Okay.
Let's end on a positive note. So we'll start with the bad ones. Bottom 5. 5 is the least bad. 1 is the
most bad.
This should be buried in a desert. Over to you, Cam.
I will be quite surprised if 1 isn't the same for both of us. Actually,
Yes.
They might all be the same. I think we gave the same downs this
Right.
season. But I guess let's see. You always throw in some surprises here and there.
Do you have some statistics on the thumbs up, thumbs downs?
I do.
I wouldn't expect anything else. Why am I even asking?
Yes. What am I if not the data person?
So true.
Okay, starting with number 5.
Yep.
The least worst.
Yep.
But still the worst.
Hey, at least Voyager gave us a season in which we can look at episodes and go, oh my God, that's bad. Remember how towards the end of Deep Space Nine, we ended up in this place where it's like, I'm picking just not so good ones.
Yeah. No, these are definitely bad.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. And there's really no middle ground for either one of us this season.
Yes.
It was either thumbs up or thumbs down. We never gave a neutral.
Yep.
And we've disagreed with some of our listeners. We've gotten emails saying, can't believe you didn't like that episode. Like, come on, people. Okay. But here we are.
I think some people might listen just so they can disagree with us.
I do think there's a person or two like that. I don't do that. I mean... I don't hate watch shows and I don't hate listen to podcasts. It's like either I like it or I don't listen. Okay, so back to my number 5.
Yes.
False Prophets.
Oh, interesting.
False Prophets was episode number 5 and it brought a Ferengi into my Voyager. I don't need it. We didn't need it.
Yeah.
It didn't give us anything and it was dumb.
Yeah.
I think the worst part of that episode, look, Ferengi were not as bad in this episode as they were in almost every episode of Deep Space Nine because they sort of kept the really misogynistic stuff aside, which is good.
Yeah.
I think that was a smart move. But there was some stuff at the end of that episode that Janeway and the crew did that was so incompetent, it didn't make any sense. And they just basically let them get away. And it just made no sense. It's like, we had to find a way for them to get away. And so we were going to do everything completely out of character in order for that to happen. And it was embarrassingly dumb.
To quote Ellen Ripley, did IQs drop while I was away? That's what the Voyager crew felt like on that episode.
Yeah, it was bad.
No disagreement there. Carry on.
My number 4 of the worst episodes was episode number 22, Real Life. This was an episode that you and I talked about a lot. I mean, we talked about it off mic quite a bit about how much we disliked it. And we got several emails from people disagreeing with us, saying that it's one of their favorite episodes. I never really got a satisfying answer about why people liked it so much, but we really did not. And anytime we have a holodeck episode that we're supposed to be emotionally attached to, because like in this one, they had the kid die at the end, if there are no real stakes, it just doesn't work for us. And it really didn't work.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Yeah, I could see that people sometimes just connect to things because of something from their lives. And I do get that. But this just did nothing for me.
This did not connect with us.
No.
But, as we keep on saying with this, people can like any episode, and that's fine.
Yeah, it's totally. My third worst episode is Darkling. So 2 Doctor episodes in a row.
I was wondering where that was going to appear.
It's so bad. I mean, again, there are things that like people just didn't make sense that people would do in the episode, but I really felt like Robert Picarder's performance was questionable. He made some choices I thought were bad, and somebody obviously told him they were good, and he just ran with it, and it was bad.
No disagreement there.
Mm-hmm. My second worst episode. Now, this was a race to the bottom, these two episodes, and I debated about what...
We haven't discussed this before. I think I know. There's one of two it's going to be. I just want to know the order.
It was really difficult to choose, but I chose Blood Fever.
Oh, okay.
I could have very easily put this as the worst for the simple part of that episode where Tuvok tells Tom to go off into the bushes and do it with his impaired coworker. That alone is a low point for Star Trek.
Yep.
It's embarrassingly stupid, but the one maybe saving grace is that it showed a lot of flaws with the Vulcan, with their social structure.
Yes. Yep.
And how they feel so superior, you know, on every level. But what we found in this episode is they're not. They're actually afraid of things. And they're just terrified of this thing that brings emotions up to the forefront and they can't handle it. So I'll move it to number 2 for that. But that episode is a workplace nightmare.
This could be an HR training video.
And I know they kind of used it as a springboard with Tom and B'Elanna, but I kind of wish they hadn't done that.
Yeah,
because
agreed.
It's like they started from this really crappy point, and they could have given it a better starting point.
Agreed.
And then, of course, that leaves the worst episode of the season as favorite son. Do I even need to explain why?
Death by Snoo Snoo, the Star Trek episode.
This was like... we had a crazy step back into the 60s. And I'm not saying it was okay in the 60s, but this reminded me of watching an original series episode where women are just so badly treated and it's just perfectly normal.
Mud's Women, I think.
Yeah, it definitely reminds you of that episode, but not just that one. There's plenty of other ones that you and I have watched and I've just gone, oh no, oh no.
So true. Yes.
Yeah, so that is my bottom 5. Does yours look different?
A little different.
Okay.
And this might make you laugh. This one kind of tied with Darkling, but I went with Sacred Ground.
Oh, I almost put that in my top 10. Actually, it might be in my top 10. I'm not sure.
I think that's the one episode this season that you and I have been 180 on.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot in that episode and the way Janeway behaves, I really didn't like.
Oh, I understand that, yeah. Did you give that a thumbs down, though? I have it as an up.
I just gave it as a neutral.
I don't have any neutrals in the list.
Oh.
We might have to go back and look.
Maybe I gave it a thumbs up just because of Costanza's mom being in it.
Oh, I may have talked you into it with the way I was viewing it.
Yeah, still wasn't super keen on it.
I understand. It had some weaknesses.
Okay, number 4, Real Life, which was a match. I think we were on the same page there.
Yep.
Number 3, False Prophets.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that got me about that one is the way, for that episode to work, everyone on Voyager, from the captain down, turned into an idiot.
Yep.
Number 2, that was favorite son for me.
Oh, you flipped him.
For all the same reasons.
Yeah.
And then number 1, of course, Blood Fever. I mean, really? That episode is a milestone in terrible Star Trek writing.
Yeah. I mean, if we think about low points, right? I mean, that's a definite low point. And I know I said before that the low point for Voyager was when Tom's tongue falls out in Threshold. But this is pretty bad.
At least, and I think I said this on that podcast, that the real plus with Threshold is it's funny bad, and it's unintentionally funny. This is just bad.
Yeah, and Blood Fever is not funny. It's just bad. Yep. Agreed.
So with the episodes that should be deleted out the way, that we'll probably never watch again, I don't know. Maybe. Seems unlikely. Let's move on to the top 10s. So I'll do the first 5.
Okay.
So my number 10, Unity. I kind of really like the sci-fi concept of this, the idea that maybe one of the things about the Borg is if you do let them go out on their own, if there's a breakdown with comms, they blow up the ships typically. the risk is you end up with new collectives being forming. So the only thing worse for the Borg than unassimilated is the assimilated forming new collectives. I like the concept of this. And at the same time, there was a whole great question in that of, would this collective actually be better or would it end up in the same place? So I like that.
Yeah. And would they keep it forever, or would any of them reject individuality since they'd had a taste of it?
Right. And would any of them re-seek individuality because, although the collective works, they don't like it?
Mm-hmm.
Would they be allowed to? I mean, so many questions with that episode. That was a good one.
Yeah. And the thing I struggled with in that episode was it never fully, in a way that satisfied me, explained what was going on with the group that was at the end, like trying to break in, the reason that they claim they needed to rebuild a collective. Like, what was going on? Were they just starving? Was it about scarcity? Could we have solved that problem? They did kind of hint at, or they talked a little bit about it being racial, that the different races were fighting each other.
That's what I took from it. Of maybe there was an element of scarcity and they maybe had food, but she seemed to bring up that it was the racial divisions of races that had fought each other and were enemies, and all that baggage was coming back out and was causing the problems.
Yeah. So is the answer, though, to make everybody the same?
To control everybody's mind through the collective.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that makes an interesting take. Yeah. So seeing as we're still discussing this episode, you can probably see why I put that on my list.
Oh, yeah, I get it.
Number 9, Rise. It's listed as that part of the trilogy of 3 terrible episodes. I like this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe it's because, like I said, I like the movie. It was kind of based on Flight of the Phoenix. And this was another part of Tuvok's development of, I loved him getting called out on how, yes, he is emotional.
Yep.
Number 8, Before and After. Who doesn't love a good time travel story? And this was a great time travel story.
Yeah, that was a good one. And especially because it came sort of in that really low point in the season.
Oh, yes.
And we needed it.
It was a good self-contained story. You want to do a self-contained story? That's great. And then the reference to the Year of Hell. Oh.
Yeah, that was good. And there's a lot of talk in, as we move into season 4, because, Kes is that character is on her way out. And so there's a lot of talk about why that happened. And one of the reasons was they didn't know how to write her. And this is an interesting story of something that they could do with her. It was unique, and it didn't really rely on her having any powers that they couldn't explain or didn't want to write. So yeah, this is a good example of what you could have done with her.
Number 7, perhaps surprising, Flashback. That one, I like the idea of the story. I think I like the idea of this brain virus thing, this creature that's been living in people's minds for potentially millennia.
Yeah.
Of course, having Sulu, George Takei, reprise the role, that was great.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's a good fan service episode.
Agreed.
And number 6, Future's End.
Mm-hmm.
More time travel. Great villain. He was perfect in that role. And I think I liked the concept of it as well. And it was a good 2-parter. And the Doctor got his mobile emitter. So I'd say that's a win.
Yes, that's true. Turning point. Yep. And we agreed before recording that this 2-parter could be counted as 1.
Yes. So over to you, Kim, for your 10 to 6.
Okay. When I looked at this list last night, I almost completely rearranged everything again. Like after the top 5, I think remained the same, but everything else changed.
Yeah.
Really because almost every other episode in this season is pretty good.
Yeah.
And, I liked them. I mean, there was no chance the Q and the Gray was going to make it into the top 10. And the Shoot, that was never going to get into the top 10 for various reasons. But I think anything else could have been there. And like I said, I did have Sacred Ground in my top 10 at one point, but it actually ended up not in there now that I look at the list.
Interesting.
Yeah. So if you ask me tomorrow, I might have a different list. But this is what my list is today.
That's probably pretty good because it does show the quality of these episodes that you can just shuffle the list around because they're all enjoyable episodes.
Yeah, I was almost nitpicking to move something down the list. Like, for example, I liked the episode Alter Ego, and especially the end. The end was really good, but there was just some really stupid stuff with Harry at the beginning. And so I just thought, oh, that was so dumb, and I remember really not liking that. But the end of the episode was really good. But I thought, okay, I'll just move that one down because it had a part that wasn't as good as the whole episode.
Right.
So number 10 on my list today is Displaced.
Oh, yeah.
So that's episode number 24. That's the one where the crew of Voyager is slowly getting picked off
Yeah.
and moved to some other location. It was pretty good. It had some sort of goofy stuff right within it too, but I enjoyed that episode.
I think as well, you didn't have anybody to make the story work. You didn't have anyone doing anything completely stupid.
True. Yeah, true. Although that one is one of the few ones where I was just shouting at the TV because I remember at the end, and I was in a hotel watching that, and I was just shouting for Janeway to just leave them in the cold.
Leave them in the snow.
I was just like, screw those guys. Why are you even talking to them? I'd have just left them there. But yeah, that was entertaining. Number 9 on my list is Coda.
Oh.
So that's the one where Janeway is almost dying for the whole episode.
Yep.
And it was really just a good performance by her. And I think if you hadn't seen it before, it sort of kept you on the edge of your seat about what was going on because from the beginning, the characters and you thought it's some kind of weird time loop. We've seen this before, in Star Trek. And so that's what it's going to be. We have to break out of the time loop. But that's not at all what it was. It was something completely different. And it had a bigger question of, does this explain all of the things that are happening to people right before they die or when they have near-death experiences?
Near-death experiences,
where they're sort of reliving their, and we talked about this in the episode Before and After too, right? Where it's kind of like your life flashing before your eyes and the different things from your history flashing before your eyes. And so I like that.
In Kes, literally.
Yeah, but it was cruel with her because she didn't remember.
Yeah.
She was, flashing backwards, but didn't remember. But anyway, I enjoyed that episode. We got some emails from people saying they really hated that episode, and I don't understand why. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah. That episode does have also, I feel there's the moment when she figures out, wait a minute, something's wrong, because he's pushing so hard.
Yeah.
It does remind me of all things of Star Trek 5. Is 5 the bad one?
Mm-hmm.
Where Kirk asks, why does God need a ship?
A starship? Yeah, I can see that. There's some parallels.
That episode is better than the movie. No spoilers.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think we get frustrated when they don't question stuff.
Yes.
Like in Favorite Son, that's one of the things we didn't like about it is they just went, I guess Harry's an alien.
Oh, Harry's an alien, yeah.
And you're like, what? And then in this episode, she didn't believe this was her dad at all. Like, she just kept questioning it right to the end until she realized she was right.
Maybe she was like that with her dad.
She might have been. He probably found her very annoying, but also probably created her, so.
Yeah.
So my number 8 is Before and After, which we already talked about.
Match on that one.
Yeah, that's a good episode. And then my number 7 is Future's End, Parts 1 and 2.
Yep.
And it doesn't always work when Star Trek goes back to the present of when the show is airing. But I thought that it was done really well. We really liked Ed Begley Jr. as the villain in that episode. And he was quirky and quite believable. And the ending was confusing like all time travel episodes.
Wait a minute. So where's that guy? Why is he still on Earth? How is he there?
How does that guy not know what happened to him already? Is that a different? Are we in an alternate universe or an alternate timeline now? So all the good sort of time travel things. And it was also quite funny. There was a lot of, really good humor in that episode. So very enjoyable.
Well, and it also had the classic sort of Hollywood wacky view of California when they're at the pier.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like...
They just set up a camera. They didn't do anything. That's just how it looks now. My number 6 is, it's funny because when I first did this list, this wasn't even in the top 10, but really? I put Macrocosm at number 6.
Oh.
Not maybe because it's one of the greatest episodes ever of Star Trek, but I really enjoyed it. It was like a horror film.
Yeah.
And it had but there were some really funny parts. Like when Janeway is struggling with that flying thing, it's very funny. And also how she let all the holodeck characters all run and scream when the things attacked. That was also very funny.
Yeah.
And there was the stuff with her and Neelix talking to I can't remember the aliens that
used the
tac
poses.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was also very funny. So there's a lot of really funny stuff in it. And we laughed so much at Janeway tooling up. She was like, this is my chance.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to get my big gun. I'm going to strip down to my tank top and I'm going to take these things out. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very fun.
Agreed.
That's my 10-6.
Okay. Well, my number 5 is Macrocosm.
Oh, nice.
For all those reasons. Plus, That was a total nod at Aliens when Janeway is tooled up with the gun.
Oh, yeah. It's the look. Mm-hmm.
This is the Aliens Ellen Ripley moment. Totally. Plus, I love the way she has this bug-out box with her guns and everything in engineering.
It's like her special box.
Is this standard? Yeah. That's Janeway's box. We keep that there.
And there was that scene on the bridge where the little version of the virus first bit her in the arm.
Yeah.
I remember we talked about how much we liked how that was filmed, and it required nothing. There were no special effects, and it was still scary, and you didn't know what the thing was, and you thought for sure at the last minute she was going to turn around and stop it, and she didn't.
Right, which would sort of be the trope, would do that. But no, they let it carry on. That was a good mix of Star Trek and horror, and it worked.
I agree. I think it's the kind of thing that somebody from the outside could criticize because of the goofy effects.
Yeah.
But it's almost like when you watch Doctor Who, and there is nothing goofier than Doctor Who.
No.
Especially the older stuff, the older episodes. It's a little bit more sophisticated now in its CGI, but they still do goofy stuff. It's, even now. But you still accept it. If you're a person who watches that show, you still accept that, and you still take the drama of it, and you still find it scary. And that was similar to this episode to me.
That's a good parallel, yeah. So, number 4, Scorpion.
Part 1.
A great way to wrap up a season finale. This is how you do it. It's a Borg episode. It's an existential threat to the entire galaxy. What a great episode.
Mm-hmm.
Janeway struggling with the morals of what she's trying to do, conflict within the ship with Chakotay. Great episode. Worked really well.
Big cliffhanger.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Great music. Dramatic. You think maybe your captain has lost her mind.
Yes, that's, really that's part of it. And, they clearly had the budget for special effects. Number 3, Warlord.
Oh.
Yes. Kes knocked it out of the park on that one. Having her, when she turns into the other character, it really feels like she's playing somebody different in Kes's body. So I think, she got the brief. And Jennifer Lean did such a good job in that one. I really enjoyed that episode. And I just love the idea of this alien out of time, desperately trying to regain his old throne and cling on for as long as he can.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, your time's passed. Definitely enjoyable.
Okay.
Number 2, Remember.
Not surprised.
At its heart, it's a good science fiction concept. And it's also a great vehicle for telling a story about you need to remember your history. And also how easy it is for people to get caught up in the narrative and believe the lies. And doing it from the perspective of how this young woman saw the world. And then using B'Elanna to tell the story. So good. Such a great episode.
And it's got parallels again with today. It becomes a modern episode even now.
Yeah, precisely.
Wasn't that one week? Oh, no, it wasn't emails. Someone on Facebook, I think, said thumbs down or neutral on this one. And we were like, oh, what? Did we watch the same episode?
Yeah. The other thing, it's one of those episodes at the end that for me, I can't help wondering what happened back on the planet.
Yeah.
What happened to the woman that B'Elanna gave the memories to? There's a whole additional story of what went on back there. And also, this amusingly falls under your Voyager just leaves chaos in its wake.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, she was probably just silenced.
That's one possible outcome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My number 1, the absolute pinnacle, I think, of this season.
Mm-hmm.
Distant Origin.
Yeah. I would have been mad if you picked anything else.
What a great Star Trek episode. I think I said it in the podcast. Atiba talked about there are episodes that people mock Star Trek and go, this makes it look silly. This is the opposite. This is one of those episodes of, you want to watch really good sci-fi drama, a really good story, this is the Trek episode to watch from season 3.
I mean, yeah, I don't disagree in any way. And it doesn't always work when we try to really shift the drama to another race or a whole other species of alien. And it really worked in this episode. And you and I disagree in that you say it's the pinnacle of season 3. This is the best episode we've had so far of Voyager, in my opinion. If I went back and looked at what I rated as 1 in the last 2 seasons, there's no way it's better than this.
You might be right there.
Actually, I can look. I have my spreadsheet. Let's look.
Of course you have the data right in front of you.
Okay, so in season 1, my number 1 was Eye of the Needle. I don't know what yours was. I don't have that in this list. But I mean, that was good, but it's not better than the dinosaur episode. And in season 2, my number 1 was Twisted, which some people didn't even like.
The bit when they're in the holodeck and they think they're going to die, that was good.
Neither one of those episodes are better than Distant Origin.
Okay, you might actually be right there. I think I might have to agree with that.
Okay, good. That was your top 5?
Yes, that was my top 5. Over to you.
Okay. My number 5 is Remember, which we just talked about. Good story about, again, other people, not, it's not the drama on the ship so much. And Bailana, Roxanne Dawson was great in that episode. Very good.
Yes.
My number 4 is one you didn't have on your list in your top 10 at all, which was Worst Case Scenario. I really enjoyed that. It kind of reminded me of Civil Defense, I think it's called. And they keep hearing Ducat keeps coming on in a recording saying Bajoran people, right? Like, I don't remember what he says.
Please return to your supervisors and your workstations.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Reminded me a little bit of that because that when they lost control of the station and they had to sort of, fight from all different directions to get it back. And that's similar here. And I always like the episode when they are unable to communicate, but they have to find a way to work together. Those are some of my favorite Star Trek episodes.
That's a great parallel to the DS9 episode. And also having Seska reappear.
Yeah, that was a surprise.
Yeah.
And Tom saying something about, of course, she would come back from the dead to mess with us.
Seems appropriate.
Yes, completely. My number 3 is Flashback. That was in your top 10, but not in your top 5.
Yep.
I really enjoyed it. I think some of the viral part of it was a little silly and whatever. Like when they were showing a caveman era child. It's like, okay, there's some goofy stuff in there, but I liked the nostalgia of it. I liked the connection with Sulu and to the movie Undiscovered Country. I thought all that was really entertaining. And there was even some really good humor, I remember, in that episode. Remember when one of the characters was sort of picking on Tuvok for brown-nosing with Sulu? And that whole scene and the look on Janeway's face. I think Janeway's the funniest captain we've ever had. She makes me laugh so much. And I remember that and her face and, her facial expressions. I really enjoyed that episode. Number 2 on my list, Scorpion Part 1. It's a great action episode. Left on a big cliffhanger. Somehow the ones that leave you on a cliffhanger always are better than the ones that wrap up the cliffhanger. But this was excellent and very entertaining. So I put that at 2. And then look, Distant Origin is amazing. That's my number 1. And we just recently, according to our recording schedule, we just released that episode, I think, today. So I was just editing it the other day. And one of the things that we either cut it or we didn't talk about it, but it dawned on me one day that when the prime minister, the lady in red, the woman in charge, right, when she was really mad about being called a refugee or an immigrant, and that was really like, we are not that, right?
Yeah.
That suddenly reminded me of when people want to deny evolution and they say, we are not apes. And I thought, oh, that's what that was about. Because we were going, what, lady, what is your problem? And it's the same thing. People, when somebody says we are not apes, it's just like, well, we're not. That's not, nobody is saying we're apes. But we are saying that there has been over millions of years an evolution.
Common ancestry, yeah.
Yeah, and so that's kind of what that parallel was. And I think we didn't quite mention it in the episode. But again, that's just genius how that was written. It's hard to explain how great it is that you have an episode of dinosaurs denying evolution. It's incredible.
It's been, 3 weeks or so, a month since we recorded that episode, and we're still talking about it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And the episode we're putting out today is about an hour and 20 minutes long. And we talked about that episode.
Almost 2 hours.
Yes. There was so much to say about it. And for us, that really can be the indicator of a good episode for us. And the opposite can also weirdly be true of, we'll have a really great episode and it'll be a 45-minute show and we literally will talk about it for like an hour. And we're like,
it's just tight. Everything about it is tight and we enjoyed it. But yeah, this one, not only do we keep talking about it, but it's like anytime we run into anybody who watches Star Trek, we're bringing it up and saying, do you remember this episode? That was a great episode.
Yeah. Have you seen this one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I texted my old boss and said, do you remember this episode? And he's like, no. I said, I think you better watch it. And he's like, okay. So, yeah, we are still feeling the echoes of that one.
Definitely.
When we're all done with all of the shows and we pull apart which ones were the best episodes, we go back and look at all of our number ones. I'm going to remember this one as great.
Yeah, this is one of those episodes I've watched multiple times. I think it just so appealed, the ideals of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there are just some that you connect to for whatever reason.
Oh, yeah. Rapture is the other one for me. Doesn't matter how many times I watch Rapture, love it every time.
Yeah, and I bet there are people who just think that's just a mediocre episode, but you and I loved Rapture so much. We talked about that forever. We still talk about that and how much we like that episode. I mean, there are certainly the ones like The Visitor, which is so memorable. And really, any person could watch that. Yeah. It doesn't have to necessarily be a Star Trek person. And the same really is true of this. You don't have to know anything about Star Trek to watch this episode. If you like sci-fi, this is a great episode to watch. Well, that wraps up, I guess, our top and bottom.
Yes.
We didn't go through and make formal categories this time. So is there anything that you want to point out in the categories? We usually do, like, do you want to talk about any acting performances or any costumes or anything like that?
When it comes to costuming, it's hard to beat the dinosaur episode.
For makeup.
Just how many people were in makeup in that episode, and how the things like the dinosaurs having the claws, and just how difficult it must have been to actually perform in those suits. Mm-hmm. And the actors managing to do it and deliver, a non-cheesy performance that doesn't look like somebody in a rubber suit.
Yeah, the costumes in Remember and Displaced were also very good.
Yeah.
At least in Remember, they weren't all wearing the same thing, which is always the thing we laugh about. But yeah, I agree. The makeup in Distant Origin is incredible.
If we want to talk about the actual show overall, I mean, one of the problems I think with Voyager is I don't feel we have enough, like Deep Space Nine was bringing in lots of guest stars to tell story points, where one member of the crew maybe would be the focus of that story point. Whereas Voyager is so much more self-contained. And I think season 3 really demonstrates how self-contained the show is. And maybe I'm wrong on this. Maybe it's just my feeling, but it feels like more of the show is based around the established characters. Yeah,
I tried to go through and mark, like, who was the episode about? And, there's a few of them where I just put everybody. Like, Future's End just seemed like that sort of covered everyone.
Yeah.
And there's really only, I think, Distant Origin, where it's pretty much all about somebody not on the ship. I mean, yes, of course, the people on the ship are involved, but the bigger part of the episode is really down to these other characters.
Right.
Was that what you were trying to say?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's sort of where Voyager is different from Deep Space Nine and its use of co-stars, often very heavy hitters who can deliver great performances.
Yeah, we talked a lot about that on the Deep Space Nine podcast, about the incredible guest stars that they brought on. But yeah, we haven't seen that quite as much, at least in this season.
It will be much more difficult to do here, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
I think other things that we've seen in this season is the rewrite of Neelix.
Yeah, great point. People still send us messages hating Neelix, that it's like they got mad and never got over it. Yep. And I understand that, but I got over it because he's a better character now.
In some ways, I feel he's almost a different character from what they were aiming at initially.
He was like annoying, right? In the beginning. Yes. It just like, we all hated him. Terrible. And now maybe they've made him too boring. They maybe swung back too far because he can be a bit dull. But, when they throw him in as part of an episode and they're not doing that nonsense they were doing in the beginning, he can be good. Yeah. I really liked him in Fair Trade, but he's not the focus of, I think, any other episode in the season. I think that's the only one.
And then, of course, there's Chakotay, or Chuckles, thanks to Q.
The best thing Q ever did was give me that nickname for Chuckles.
Well, I think we see Chakotay being written much more like a competent first officer. And I think that season 3, we got a much better Chakotay than we've seen previously. A much more competent, I feel, Chakotay.
Yeah, I liked him a lot more in this season, but spoiler alert, not so much in the next episode that we're going to record after this one. But I do agree. I think they found a way to lean into what he's good at, and he's really good at speeches.
Yes.
And they gave him a couple great speeches, and they also show him really de-escalating situations that need de-escalating. Yeah. And I think it's really good to have your number one as the person who can do that.
Right. And I think that's part of, he's supposed to be the people person running the crew for the captain. And I think the fact that they've really emphasized that in this season, that he is the person who can diffuse situations, who can give the Picardian-esque speech, it really enhances the character. It makes the character much more believable as a first officer.
Yeah. And he wasn't the focus of too many episodes. I mean, certainly of Unity. Yeah. And I would argue maybe Distant Origin, he was the lead of the main cast, but he wasn't, the episode wasn't about him, but he was the one who gave the great speech.
He was a significant part of it. Yeah. And also before and after, where we saw him, he'd stepped up and was in the captain's role. I mean, he didn't have a huge part in it, but I felt he to me felt effective as a captain.
Sure. And I remember complaining after Real Life that we needed fewer Doctor episodes. So I was looking at how many episodes about the Doctor really were there, and there's only 3. So I don't know. I think because they were just 2 bad ones, I was just over it. It's like, can we please either fix the Doctor or move on to a different character? But it looks like in my list, there's really only 3. And there's maybe 5 that I marked as Janeway episodes, which would make sense as the captain.
Yeah.
And only a couple B'Elanna. Let's see what Tuvok I have. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I have only 3 for Tuvok.
But I like what they've done with Tuvok. Mm-hmm. I like the fact that they're forcing Tuvok to, and you probably wouldn't get this much with Vulcans, especially with a Vulcan ship, none of them would admit it, that emotions do play a part of their lives. They want to deny it, they try and suppress it, but they still come out. And I like that about the portrayal of Tuvok.
Yeah, and I mentioned that in the Blood Fever review about the nonsense with the Vulcans,
Yeah. Oh, and my final point is, Tom remains the petulant child.
Oh, yeah, somebody emailed us and asked, why are you so nice to Tom? It's like, it's not that we're nice to Tom, it's just that he's almost inconsequential.
Yeah.
And we certainly complained about the way he treats B'Elanna, like the nonsense with him trying to force her to be more Klingon, but then complaining when she's too much Klingon. Like, he's not starting out as a great boyfriend, but yeah, he's sort of a non-entity in this season. Like, I was even looking, I don't even think I have him marked as the main character at all. Maybe in worst case scenario, he was one of the main ones.
He's kind of the Wesley Crusher of this season.
Oh, no.
I take back everything I've ever said about Wesley Crusher because of Prodigy.
Yeah. So I think we've kind of harped on the highs being quite high, like Distant Origin, and the lows being quite low. There was just that sort of dead space towards the end where there were too many bad ones in a row. It's okay when you sprinkle in the crappy ones here and there, but there were just a number of them towards the end of the season that was sort of depressing. And then they just turned around and did Distant Origin almost to mock us. Like, oh, you don't think the show is good? Here's one.
Yeah, we've shoveled this slop out. Oh, here's a diamond.
Oh, that's funny. All right, let me quickly look at numbers. I know some people...
Oh, numbers time. Okay.
Some people find it boring, so I won't talk too much about it.
People want to hear your numbers, Kim.
Oh, sure. So season 1 was only 15 episodes. Just keep that in mind. And then seasons 2 and 3 were 26 episodes each. The number or the percentage of ups for me in season 1, it was 80% up. And then in season 2 was 65%. Yep. And then we're back to 80.8% in season 3. So mostly good, even though what I remember is the crappy stuff that happened towards the end. But like I said, when I was trying to do my rating and I was looking at this long list going, well, any of these could be in the top 10. They're all good. So that sort of makes sense. And then for you had, in season 1, you had 86.7% ups. And then season 2 was 69.2. So far, season 2 not looking so good.
Yeah, not looking so good.
And then you gave also 81%.
What can I say? I like Voyager.
Yeah, you had 81 or 80.8%, just like me, because we had the same ups and downs.
Yeah.
And I have 0% neutral for us in season 3. We had 13% neutral. I had 13% neutral. in season 1, 15% season 2, 0% season 3. So it was either great or terrible. You had 6.7% neutral season 1, 19.2% season 2. So you had a lot. You had more neutrals than I did.
Yep.
And then 0% this season.
Yeah, it's either been good or bad.
And we've averaged right around 55 minutes per episode, although that does not include things we haven't released yet. So it does not include the dinosaur episode or the rest of the season after that yet.
Which is a long one, but we really enjoyed it. Hopefully people will listen to it to the end as well.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, I think that wraps up the wrap-up.
We've wrapped it up again.
So we're going to take a couple weeks off, and then we will be back with season 4, episode 1.
Scorpion Part 2. Unlike when we watched it live back in the day, you won't have to wait an entire summer, only 2 weeks.
Yeah, not too bad. Well, 3 if you count this week. So wrapping up the wrap-up, we will see you in a couple of weeks. In the meantime, if you'd like to send us your own over-analysis of this entire season, send us your top and your bottom episodes, that'd be great. You can email us at rebingeit@gmail.com, or you can reach out to us on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and YouTube at ReBingeIt. Or you can join the Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/Star Trek TTM podcasts.
Thanks for joining us on the ReBinge Star Trek Voyager podcast.
That's it for me.
And that's it from me.